So if you're watching the news today, you have seen all the reports about stupidity in the world, right? Everybody's making mistakes. Everybody's reporting to everybody else. Our culture is going to garbage. And the problem is we're being led by people that don't know anything about culture. So we put together a little presentation for you guys to watch. Use it. If it helps you, that's awesome. It should. But really, what I want you to think about is how are you going to build a great culture moving into the new year? I mean, let's start right. Let's build a culture with foundation, values, good core, and teach our people not to be managers but be leaders. So I'm going to jump behind the computer and start doing this presentation for you. Give me about 2 seconds and I'll be right with you. It's going to be awesome.
Hey, I made it back to this side of the computer, and here I am to talk to you about culture as the foundation. Now, here's what cracks me up. I see these leadership gurus that have never led anybody or anything professing to be experts. Well, so you know, Phil and I have over 50 years of leadership experience. I had the pleasure of commanding 2 squadrons and had over 1,000 people in one of the units. In my combat unit, I had over 300 people that I had the privilege and pleasure of working with along the way. And there's one thing I know. As we look around the world and all the crazy things happening and silliness going on, our culture is damaged. And if you don't have a good culture in your organization, you are destined for failure. So let's talk about how to build that culture to set your team up for success. Now, here's a tough question, and the lion is back there to give you a visual of what it takes sometimes to change a very damaged, failing culture. My question is, do you have what it takes? You know, sometimes lions have to do what lions have to do. And I'll share this story. Back in about 2006, I was sitting on a staff job in the Air Force, and we were getting ready to go through a 30% personnel cut. That was going to cost us about 30% of our organization, which equated to about 1,000 people. The Air Force as a whole was cutting 30,000 people out of the organization, and it was painful, and people were frustrated. And we leveraged tools like Lean, Six Sigma to find ways to improve processes to make that happen. The challenge we had was the organization didn't buy in, and there were people in the organization purposely trying to make the Lean events fail. In one instance, I was sitting in a meeting with our Lean staff members going through a process, and every time somebody brought up a suggestion to change something, this one individual in the back room always said, nope, won't work. Can't happen, not going to happen here. As we broke for lunch, I walked back to the gentleman in the back of the room and I said, hey, this is a process improvement event. What are you doing? Why are you sharing that information? Why are you not here to help? He looked at me as serious as he could be and he said, my boss told me to make sure nothing changes. Well, you can imagine I was a little bit shocked. I went to the boss's office because that's who I worked for. Walked into the 2-star and said, boss, we got a problem. Explained what happened. And the next day we had a all call in the theater. He stood up in front of 5,000 personnel and told them, you're either with me or against me. If you're not going to help with change, then you are fired. Pack your bags. It was a day he had to be a lion to change the culture. I'm happy to say that some 10 years later, all those changes are in place and that organization is more efficient and performing better than it ever has. So the question I have for you is, do you have what it takes to change the culture? There's 2 things you need to understand about a culture and who to go to and how it happens. You have leadership, it produces change and movement, and you have management. It produces consistency and order. Now, I'll be honest with you, managers are useful, but they do not help you build a long-lasting organization. So you need to look at your organization and see who your leaders are, who's producing change and movement to make things better, and who your managers are, and treat them appropriately. The foundation of culture change is really simple. You've got to have a value-based culture. You've got to set expectations. You've got to empower your team. You've got to define a culture based around these values. You see, President Harry S. Truman said it best. A leader is a man who has the ability to get other people to do what they don't want to do and like it. Let's put this into more perspective for you. You see, this is what an organization looks like that's destined for success. The foundation is strong with integrity, service, and excellence. Everybody's moving the right direction in a team and all focused on the team's goals, not their individual selfish goals. You've built an organization with strong values that everybody understands and moves towards. Those values include selflessness, teamwork, character, performance, and accountability. Those serve as a basic foundation for that culture you want to build that gives you a team, not only leaders, but a team committed to excellence. The big thing you need to understand about any organization and culture and success is how it works, and it relies on the team. You see, the team makes everything visible. Every leader is accessible. You understand that you have both formal and informal leaders in the organization which are driving success. And at the core, it's a team effort requiring preparation and planning, clear communication across divisions and through silos, a good feedback loop, and an organizational structure that allows for success. There's one thing I know, when we consult with organizations, it's very easy to see where the organization is because the attitude in the organization always reflects leadership and their attitude. This is a culture journey to change who you are and who you want to be. It relies on the team, and there has to be waypoints along the way to determine success. If you can't hit the waypoints, your short-term goals, or you don't have them to begin with, you're lost, and you're not on a journey. You're wandering adrift in the ocean. It's time for you to refocus on the discussion and education to application and execution. I think Ronald Fogelman says it best in the slide that you're reading right now. So how does this work in practical application? First and foremost, I'm going to ask you a quick question. Look in the mirror. Do you have a good strategic plan? Do you understand where your organization is heading 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 3 years from now, a year from now? What is your big, hairy, audacious goal that's unrealistic and unexpected that you're striving to reach? You see, there's a lot of talk about SMART goals, and SMART goals are great to move you forward in your strategic planning once you determine where you want to be. What is your moonshot? Where do you want to be in 5 years? It's almost impossible. You see, you set those SMART goals to reach that big, hairy, audacious goal along the way. What is your mission? What are your objectives? What are your key processes and metrics? Are you looking to become leaner every day? How are you looking at your processes day in and day out, empowering your team to make positive changes to make you more nimble, more agile, and more effective? Are you enabling? Are you enabling your team to do the right thing? And when things go wrong, are you completing a good root cause analysis? The easiest way to do this is to use the 5 whys philosophy. It usually takes 5 whys to get down to the process problem that caused a failure. So the takeaway about building this culture, you never tell people how to do things. Tell them what to do and let them surprise you with their ingenuity. I can tell you, if you want to build an empowering culture, you have to push people. You have to be there for people, and you have to make them better every single day. So this is a brief synopsis of what Exxon thinks about culture and how to change it. It comes from years of experience and years of working with great teams. If you need some help, check us out or give us a call. www.exxon.co or email us at info@exsin.co. Have a great day.